Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder, to one of the greatest battles that I've played in Naval Forces in quite a while. And especially when you see the beginning of this match, you will absolutely fail in predicting the outcome of the battle. Today I'm in a ship that I have never played before. This is the first battle in it, and for statistics sakes, probably also the last one, and I'm not even spoiling after the first few minutes of combat. I'm in the JDS Ayanami DD-103, and it's of the Ayanami class. It's a frigate, rank 5, battle rating 4.0, and the reason why I say it the way that I just did is because there's also the IJN Ayanami, which is of the Fubuki class at rank 1, but it's a destroyer in the Blue Water Fleet of battle rating 4.0. And the two ships are very different indeed. The JDS Ayanami has 3 twin 3-inch -50 Mark 33 guns with an ammo count not over 9,000, but exactly 9,000. Also, it has torpedoes, to which we'll come just in a moment, and hedgehogs, which I will not really talk too much about. Now, those 3-inch guns are in 3 twin turrets, and they are mounted that 2 are super firing at the front. There is no other barrel weapon on this web. There are no 40mm, no 25mm, no 20mm, nothing. That's it. While you have a radar and while you have a really high rate of fire, you also have to fight with the fact that you have an overheat mechanic, which is really problematic and really hinders your effectiveness, but you're also belt fed, which means at some... Gotcha, what are you hamsters doing? Anyway, where was I? Yeah. So while you have belts and you have an overheat mechanic, at some point you have to reload those belts, or if you want to switch the ammunition, then you have to deal with a reload of 10 seconds, which can be an awful long time in naval forces, especially at this battle rating when you're fighting patrol boats. And Northport, which is the map that I'm playing on for you today, is also quite a cheater map for your KD if you're a destroyer, because the patrol boat fighting area is literally around the corner, especially when you spawn from the south. And yeah, so we can see here me fighting today like a lion. At the start it's a little bit more like seal clubbing, but nonetheless it just shows the great things about the ship. Now I'm still on my quest to research the Asagao YTE-01, which costs as a battle rating 3.7 motor gunboat a whopping 250,000 RP. On the JDS Ayanami, which is a Tech 3 top end of the line patrol boat or frigate, where you have then a destroyer spawn, well, I don't have a talisman. I still have a premium account, but you know, I want to kill a lot of stuff. As you can see, I'm clubbing the bots in particular right now, but it's not my fault, although that seems to be a player. If you look at the skin, yes, it was. And the RP difference is quite staggering. At some point it's 10 times the RP or even more that you get for a player compared to a bot, and that is a bit of a problem if you want to grind 250,000 RP. And there you can see the fun the bots have at spawning and exploding and donating their precious RP to me. And at this point I have no problem keeping up with my overheat. It's quite manageable at this point, and I'm on the verge of the double ace, I think. This guy coming around the corner and already receiving the deleting game, although that was a player and only giving 100 RP. And I'm about to receive the nicest compliment ever in just a couple of seconds, but yeah, I have, yeah I'm a cheater, apparently. So guys, if you want to know how cheating in War Thunder looks, look no further. And the reason that I'm showing you this battle is because I'm really thinking about squadding up more. Because as you can see, I'm absolutely dominating here B. The enemy has already captured C, and I'm now staying here to protect B, but also to avoid the combat at first with the destroyers at C. And everybody's with me here on B, so B is a done deal. The problem is nobody's going for A, so I'm not quite sure what to do. I mean, I'm racking up the kills. I'm here with some good reinforcements and support, but B is not winning us the game alone, right? And sadly there is no D point, to be honest. When I played this battle, I was wondering if this is even fair, and to be honest, it isn't. Now, every ship has its advantages and disadvantages, so the thing is, the reason why this is my first battle is because I looked at the battle rating and the armament and was like, nah, that's not gonna cut it. But in fact, quantity has a quality of its own. I'm saying this because at battle rating 3.3 there is the Chikugo, the E.215, and that has the same gun but only one twin turret in the front, and that's not gonna cut it versus reserve destroyers in an up tier. And the JDS Ayanami can meet actual light cruisers, and while you have torpedoes, they are not the strongest. They are really short range, relatively short range with 6 kilometers, but are really slow with only 44 kilometers per hour top speed, and have a warhead of only 100 kilograms. Now, 4 of them launched at once still will do some damage, and remarkable damage when you hit somebody that doesn't have a torpedo defense system, like most enemies will have at this battle rating, or will not have, rather. And I'm saying this because you have one quadruple launcher and a full set of reload, which is rather rare, remarkable, and puts you in theory on par with the S701, you know, a battle pass reward, but that fires G7As and they are significantly more capable. But your launcher actually is rotatable, so there is another plus. You kind of see why this is such a odd ship. Is it overpowered? Is it underpowered? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it worth the grind? Honestly, this is a ship where it's really situational, right? This is not something that you can artificially up tier and hunt battleships. This is a ship that needs to perform at its own battle rating because it's not a patrol boat with ridiculously overpowered torpedoes. Now let's talk about the torpedoes, and let's talk about the game of poisoning the gap. So you kind of see there is an iceberg, and there is another iceberg or icy land, and I'm launching my 4 torpedoes that are ready to use in the launcher into the gap, and this either forces the enemies to pass the gap to avoid the torpedoes, or to eat the torpedoes and receive significant amount of damage, where then it puts them into my range of being technically able to be destroyable with gunfire. There always are, and here I still have the HE belt loaded, and I'm not exclusively using the HEVT because the HEVT has less TNT, around 350 kilograms, 350 grams, whereas the normal HE has 500 grams. And the AP HE actually goes into the guts and destroys the boilers, can blow up ammo racks, goes through armor, some armor, and therefore is just absolutely fantastic when it comes to technically patrol boat armament versus destroyers and so forth. But again, this is a good ship if you have to jump on somebody, if it's a 1 versus 1 and you can surprise them. But if multiple enemies come at you, well, you're simply not a Moffat, are you? So when there is constant pressure, you're really getting into trouble with the reloads, with the overheat, and just with dealing damage and knocking out parts of the enemy ship. This is not a ship that's so straightforward to play. This is something I would say for rather experienced players. It's not peak performance either. So it's just one of those ships where I try to see what Gaijin tried to achieve, but compression says no. And also if you look at here this reserve destroyer, which just goes bow in, ideal damage to this guy, and it's a 1 versus 1. But again, you can see the overheat, the cooldown phase. It's just a long way to walk in this thing. I can walk around, I can look around while there is cooldown, and then I have to wait until he repairs some modules, so then he is again susceptible to damage. Now he has less than 10%, he's drowning anyway. I want the crew keeping up the fire, and we get the kill for a whopping 130 RP. You see, grinding with that amount of rewards, 250,000 RP, is quite the business, right? And it's the last naval vessel to unlock for 250,000. So the Asagao will maybe provide you a bit more footage here and there, but honestly, it's not really fun in the same way as grinding a Panther tank with a Panzer IV, or with a M26 grinding, you know, your M103 or something like this. It's a different kind of War on the pain, to be honest. Yeah, you have this amazing performance, but you can very often get into those remarkably unwinnable scenarios. It's, you know, when your advantage means nothing, when the enemies in theory have a really easy time walking all over you, yeah, that's just not great. I still have 3 torpedoes, and again I try to play the game of poisoning the gap and launching the torpedoes, and there is another guy, I'm on fire, and yeah, one of my turrets knocked out, but I realized I deal damage to this guy. I need to blow him out of the water right now before he deals critical damage, and my guns get knocked out, they overheat, and now there are multiple enemies coming at me. This is the end game, right? Yeah, all Megadeth fans now rejoice. We kill that guy, and it actually is a player. And this is when you have this concentrated AP. It's a death by 1,000 cuts, and I actually get assisted by a Stuka here, which nukes this guy with a 1,000 kilogram bomb. I'm on 17 kills. There is a patrol boat spawning. I need to kill him right now, right here. And I still have roughly 50% of crew. Kill number 18. But the tickets are ticking down. Nobody's going for C, and everybody going for C gets killed. The enemy have captured A. Tickets are bleeding down. What does it take to win in this game sometimes? I'm sitting on 35,000 damage in a patrol boat. Those are the good old Cowell days. Yeah, and here I cannot lock on the enemy. I mean, I have the radar, I have the advantage of seeing that somebody's coming, but I'm too far away. I'm switching to the proxy fuse HE in anticipation of the enemy coming closer, but as will luck have it, obviously then an enemy comes around the corner, and now I need to blast him to smithereens with HE. The plane's coming closer, and I need to defend B. This is the only time I think in the entirety of the game that I went out of it, and I disabled the superstructure, but he decaps it. He launches a torpedo. I need to angle away, switching to AP because I need to knock out the boilers in order to kill him, and this is where then the firing angles are not great, and you can see this is not going to end well. The torpedo is missing me, Come on, I need to kill him. Come on, 8%, 4%, 3, and we nuke him. We prevent the enemy from capping. There is another one, but the game ends. 19 kills, 1 cap, 4 assists. In excess of 36,000 damage. But it's a loss. And despite the premium account, I only get 7,600 RP for this. And only above 110,000 silver lines. Why am I even trying? No, in all honesty, this was really high pulse gameplay from start to finish. I actually had fun despite the loss, and honestly, for kill to death ratio reasons, I shouldn't touch this ship at all anymore. But honestly, I might do in the future and give it actually a talisman, because the damage output actually is acceptable. And yeah, in excess of 6,000 score points for future events. I have a good idea what I will use in the future. And having said this, that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this gameplay, this ship, its performance and the meta. And why not give a like if you did like the video, subscribe if you want to see more. For you it's just a couple of clicks, for me it means the world. And we'll see each other on the battlefields, in the skies and on the waves of War Thunder.